Okay, in this video we're going to look at expressing p sine vita plus q cos vita in the form r sine vita plus or minus alpha or r cos vita plus or minus alpha. So expressing an expression in terms of both sine and cos as a single sine or cos. So this is quite neat. To do it, you're going to need to know a few things. One of them is you're going to need to know your addition formulae. For instance, your sine bracket a plus b would be equal to sine a cos b plus sine cos a sine b. Remember, that's plus or minus, so if it is sine a minus b, you get sine a cos b minus cos a cos b. Or if you had sine a minus b, you'd get sine a cos b minus cos a sine b. Alternatively, remember the other formula you're going to need to know is your cos bracket a plus b, where that's equal to cos a cos b minus sine a sine b. And if it's minus, then it's a plus. So these are the formulae you need to know. Now these formulae are given to you in the exam booklet, but it's just useful to know them anyway, just so you can do the questions a bit quicker. But do double check them anyway, so you don't make a mistake. Okay, now to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to be given a question, and in the question it will give you which form they want you to express your answer in. So what you do is you get the form that they want you to express the answer in. You do the addition formula to it, and then what you do is you then put that equal to the original expression which they wanted you to express in that format. And then what you do is you equate the coefficients. One useful thing to note is that r will be the square root of p squared plus q squared. So if you square that number, add them together and square root it, you're going to get r. Watch the example and see how it's done. Okay, so the example we're going to look at is express 6 cos vita plus 4 sine vita in the form r cos vita minus alpha, where r is bigger than 0 and vita is and alpha is in between 0 and pi over 2. And it says give the values of r and alpha to 3 significant figures. That's part A, so we're going to look at that first of all. And then part B is we have to find where the maximum value of 6 cos vita plus 4 sine vita, and find the smallest possible value of vita for which this maximum occurs. Okay, so the first step of this question is to look at which form we have to express it in. So we've been asked to express it in the form r cos vita minus alpha. So starting off with r cos vita minus alpha, use the addition formula to expand that. To get r, bracket, remember you've got the r there, so you're going to put the r outside there, bracket, cos, remember if it's cos a minus b, it's cos a cos b plus sine a sine b. So we're going to get cos vita cos alpha plus sine vita sine alpha. Then what we're going to do is, because we want to express 6 cos vita plus 4 sine vita in that form, we put it equal to 6 cos vita plus 4 sine vita. Now what we're going to do is equate the coefficients. So first of all, let's equate the coefficients of cos vita. So on this side, in the front of the cos vita, you've got r and cos alpha. On this side, you've got your 6. So we get r cos alpha equals 6. Now let's do the same for the coefficients of sine vita. So we've got 4 on this side. On this side in front of the sine vita, we've got r and sine alpha. So we get r sine alpha equals 4. Now we're trying to find out what value r is and what value alpha is, so what we're going to do is we're going to divide the black equation by the red equation. The reason we're going to do that is that sine divided by cos gives you tan. So dividing this equation by this equation, you're going to get r divided by r is 1. Sine alpha divided by cos alpha is tan alpha. And 4 divided by 6 is 4/6, or 2/3. So to find alpha, what you're going to do is just get your calculator and you're going to do, making sure it's in the right mode. Here obviously you see we're in radians, so what you're going to do is you're just going to do shift tan of, oh, the right mode. Shift tan of 2/3 is 0.588, and that's the three significant figures. So alpha equals 0.588. Now we need to find what r is. So to find r, you could put the alpha back into one of these equations, but a standard approach is, because you've got 6 and you've got 4, you're going to just use Pythagoras' theorem. So you're going to do 6 squared plus 4 squared and square root it. So 6 squared 36, and 4 squared is 16. Add them together, you get 52. You're going to square root 52. So you get 7.211. You have to write the three significant figures, so that means that r equals 7.21. Okay, so we look back at the original question. We were asked to express 6 cos vita plus 4 sin vita in the form Rcos bracket vita minus alpha. And if you look, we've done it. So we got r to be 7.21, we got vita to be 0.588. So you put it in and you get, obviously you don't need to write this part, but 6 cos vita plus 4 sin vita equals 7.21 cos bracket vita minus 0.588. Now part B says find the maximum value of the graph and find the smallest possible value for vita for which this maximum occurs. Okay, now obviously here we've got cos of something. So this is the cos graph, and if you think about the cos graph crosses at 1, goes down and so on like this, and it crosses at 1, and that's the highest point is 1 and the lowest point is -1. Now if you times that graph by 7.21, remember that multiplies all the heights, so instead of it being at 1 and -1, it's going to be at 7.21 and -7.21. So it's the same graph, but it's just the heights have been multiplied, so the whole graph sort of gets stretched by a scale factor of 7.21 in the vertical position, so it just gets taller and taller and taller, or taller. Okay, so the graph's been stretched. It's also been shifted. Remember, if you have f of bracket x plus f of bracket x minus alpha, what that does is it moves it alpha to the right. Okay, it's counterintuitive. You would think it would move the graph to the left, but it moves the graph to the right. So what's going to happen is you've got the cos graph here. We've multiplied the heights, so it's got taller, and we've moved the graph across to the right by 0.588. So what's going to happen is you're going to have your graph. It's going to, instead of crossing here, it's going to move over to this point here, and that value there would be 0.588, and this value here, the height obviously is 7.21. So the graph would look something like that. Okay, so that would be the maximum, and it says find the value for which the maximum value. The maximum value would be 7.21, and it says give the smallest possible positive value of vita for which that occurs, where the positive smallest value for vita which that occurs would be 0.588.